Eris is back, and so am I. Welcome back, Guardians, to another Embrace Destiny video and broadcast. Kaz PhD here, after all this time. My ghost, Lazarus, tells me I haven't recorded a video for over 7 months. Time is such a tricky thing, especially for Guardians. What is 7 months to those who don't age? And yet, those 7 months have felt like 7 years. I won't waste too much of your bandwidth by going over it, but I've still been here, still been active. I broadcast more frequently elsewhere, links below, but I've also taken a step back, needed time to reflect. However, my enthusiasm waxes again, and I am proud and excited to return. My report today will begin with a simple recap of the events of the past week. For those wishing to catch up or stay involved, that may suffice. Afterward, I will offer my analysis and perspective, asking questions and aiming to deepen our understanding. While on patrol, helping Guardians where I could, I received a message. Eris and Ikora needed my help. The witness, where it went and how to follow it there, remains a high priority area of research. Every day we stare at the portal, and every day it mocked us. Imaru, Savathun's ghost, reached out looking to make a deal. Apparently the Witch Queen knew about the portal and had made plans before the events of her Lucent Brood uprising. However, Imaru refused to bring Savathun back so long as Xivu Arath was on the table. Work with him, get rid of Xivu Arath, and he would bring Savathun back to share her secrets of the witness. An enticing offer, as always. Skeptical but not wanting to leave any clue uncovered, I went in. With Imaru's guidance, I cleared away the border forces in Savathun's throne world and began the ritual to dissolve the illusion. Combining hive magic, crystals, and surprisingly a witch's staff, I did it. The fog cloud in the distance vanished, and a tall spire appeared before me. I pushed my way inside. Climbing the spire, clearing a path, recordings of Savathun began echoing throughout the chamber. The hive god of cunning anticipated all of this, even listed Eris by name. She knew Eris would find this place. She knew that Eris would be interested, and somehow her plan involved our resident hive expert. We put the pieces together. Our main problem with Xivu Arath has been that fighting her is like pouring ether into a fire. It only makes her stronger. Diplomacy won't work with the hive god of war, but seemingly neither will war. So what could we do? Well, apparently we beat her at her own game, and we starve her. If a hive were to steal, redistribute tithe and tribute away from Xivu Arath, she would lose much of her strength and power. At the same time, whoever or whatever gained this tribute would grow stronger. Xivu is so committed to the sword logic that her fate is entwined with it. It's more than a matter of principle and respect. It's a matter of being. If Xivu were beaten following the sword logic, not only would she accept that, but her existence would enforce it. If we undid her with the sword logic, she would truly be undone. But how to make this happen? I locked eyes with Eris. She smirked. Only a hive could defeat a hive, and Eris's adventures had given her unique insight, access. Eris would embrace the sword logic fully. She led us to a remote corner of Savathun's throne world, her Athenaeum, as she called it, her place of study. There, a ritual circle was drawn. Before my eyes, Eris chanted and was transformed. She grew in size. Hive chitin sprouted from her back. She discarded her mask, that thin strip of cloth, and looked at me. I am the many-mouthed hunger. I am the knife-edged truth. Bring me your tithes. And that was that. A few missions later, some reflection, and here we are. Eris has turned herself into a hive god, the god of vengeance. Her plan is to gather the power of victory, vengeance, and violence from all Guardians, strengthen herself before taking on Xivu Arath. It's a bold plan, and I have a lot to reflect on. First, let's discuss the merits of the plan itself. Can this be done? Well, as always when dealing with the arcane, there are layers of interpretation, and more that remains unknown. But it makes sense. The sword logic is a self-fulfilling feedback loop of ontology. What begins as a belief is made into law, that law made into reality, and that reality imposes itself. It's quite fascinating, actually. Religious philosophers have pondered the questions of faith and belief for eons, with skeptics stating that belief was useless at best, distracting at worst, while supporters claiming that faith not only bolstered believers, but was a test, and was enough. For the Hive, there is no gap between faith and reality. One creates the other. Focusing here, we have seen the sword logic provide our enemies with the sharpest weapons, but we have also seen it act as a prison, a weapon turned guillotine. Oryx fell by the blade. Not only that, but it was the only way he could have fallen. During the war in the Taken King, we drained his power by destroying his hierarchy, his followers, and then defeated him with his own sword, his own logic, in the throne world of his own making. Or should I say, unmaking. So this plan makes sense. Drain the power of the god of war, meet her as an equal, and undo her. Records found in the depths of Titan, in the dungeon most Guardians are calling ghosts in the deep, enforce this. Demonstrate Xivu Arath's utter faith in sword logic. Still, Guardians have a lot of work to do. Xivu Arath earned her name. While often forgotten by newer Guardians, Xivu's legacy is vast. She has existed for tens of thousands of years, subsisting on the destruction of entire worlds, entire peoples. To match her in power will take a tremendous amount of tithing. The plan will work. But what of Eris? As always, I feel like I must defend our resident witch. Eris Morn lives in the shadows. She moves laterally to many and speaks cryptically, but always in support of us, and always in the search for truth. I understand the source of concern. Eris thrives in darkness and power corrupts. Is this new form her true self? Will she finally embrace this dark path laid before her and turn against us? Quite simply, no. Eris Morn has demons, ghosts even, yes. But to believe she will fall to pieces, to evil, is to ignore her journey, her conviction, to ignore her. Eris Morn survived the Hellmouth, the great disaster. When everyone else fell to Crota, she made her way back to us. Doing so changed her, traumatized her, but it did not corrupt her. Ever since, she has been just as committed to this fight as everyone else. It's easy to look at Commander Zavala as a paragon of Guardians, a stalwart defender of our allies and soul. His dedication shines bright. Eris, on the other hand, deals with dangerous forces, but she does so with the same dedication, for the same purpose. When we found the Lunar Pyramid, Eris became haunted by her past. We helped her face that. She did not let go of her trauma, but as she herself once said, trauma is an unrelenting beast. It never quite leaves our side, but that doesn't mean we owe it a damn thing. During the season of Haunted, when others were overcome with the nightmares of their past, it was Eris who guided us through it. She used her trauma, her experience, and our shared lesson of friendship to guide us all back to the light. Once again, to quote Eris, recovery is a spiral, not a circle. You may return to the same patterns, but you will break free. I'm not worried about Eris. Both her past and her present demonstrate an awareness of herself, her conviction and her strength. When she began the ritual, she called it her sublimation, as in a change of form, but not of substance. Eris Morn, she remains. However, power can corrupt, and heroes tend to have the same sacrificial complex. To Eris, I will say this: I believe in you. I believe in your strength, your courage, your valor. I also know firsthand how blinding conviction can be, how we feel we must push ever and ever further to keep our loved ones safe. But we don't. There are limits. Limits on the individual which can be overcome by the community. So when the time is right, remember that, Eris. You don't have to do this alone, and you don't have to give up any part of yourself. In the end, I'll say this: as dark as things seem, we have seen worse. We have a goal, a plan, a direction. We are coordinated, and while we are diving deeper into powers we do not fully understand, we are doing it together. Similar to my returned enthusiasm for making these broadcasts, these videos, I'm enthusiastic about the path ahead. I'm excited to dive deep into the throne world again, to dive deep into the arcane and flex my power in new ways. I hope you feel the same way. Thank you all for making it to the end. As always, make sure to do what you wish to ensure you see these broadcasts as they come in. Feel free to leave a comment or join me at my links below to continue the conversation. Until then, I'll see you in the oubliette, and I hope that you stay safe, be kind, and I'll see you all next time. Bye now.